Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway for tonight's race number 14 of Tuesday Night Thunder, hosted by Ron Morris Racing. You're watching live tonight on PGR eSports. My name is Dawson Wise, and I'm so glad to be joining you for tonight's 14th race of the season. This is the first race of the round of 8 here in the Tuesday Night Thunder playoffs, and I'll tell you, if you missed last week's race, it was a barn burner. It was incredible. There was so much action, so many twists and turns, so many different moments throughout the race where the playoff picture completely turned on its head, and it really was an incredible night of racing. Michael Triscaro was able to capture a walk-off round of 16 victory that saw him clinch a spot in the round of 8. He was razor thin close on points and decided, I'm just going to go win the race and lock myself in that way, and that he did. So our round of 8 is set, and as we get into tonight's starting grid and forward into tonight's race, we will keep you informed on who those top 8 are. They are signified with a lowercase p in parentheses next to their name. You see a few of them there inside the top 10. So we will inform you of those guys here in just a moment after we get down trackside for the starting grid for tonight's race number 14 of Tuesday Night Thunder. On the pole, a quick time of 50.620 seconds. It is the number 14 on your timing and scoring. He'll be the number 1 MCU Body Ford Mustang on the side of the car. And it is the guy second in points coming into tonight. That is Garrett Maines. To his outside, it'll be the points leader, the defending regular season champion, and the man who has won the most races of anybody in this series all season long. He has brought his points lead here in the round of 8. Again, we'll get to that in a minute. It is Matthew Baker of NBG Motorsports. He'll start from position number 2. Row number 2, it's another playoff driver. In the 44, it's Andrew Navarro, our defending champion here of Tuesday Night Thunder. He has squeaked his way into the round of 8, the last driver in on points. He will start from 3rd, and it'll be Matt Lee. He got eliminated last week, but he's back again this week for more, trying to finish his season off with a bang. He'll start from 4th. Row 3, another NBG entry. It's Jeff Merck in the 60. His playoff run continues. He finds himself in the round of 8 tonight in the Navy Blue Angels Chevrolet. To his outside will be the bucked up Chevrolet for KSR, one of a few KSR entries in the field tonight. That'll be the 85 on the timing and scoring. The 2 on the side of the car, it will be Devin Ray. Row 4, starting P7. Trevin Osbornoth in the 89. Unfortunately, his playoff run ended last week as well, but he's again back for more and wanting to finish this season off right. In the KSR, Jack Shack, number 89. He'll start from position number 7. To his outside, it'll be Mark Von Dell for McCullough Motorsports in the 59. He'll roll from 8th. In row 5, it'll be Landon Velicki in the 62 for One Stop Motorsports. To his outside, it'll be PGR's Mike Davenport, the defending Little Guy Series champ, in the 55. Row number 6 to be Jared Haynes. Unfortunately, his playoff run as well ended last week by a few points. He'll start from 11th. To his outside will be the 0-2 on the side of the car, the 15 on timing and scoring of Richard Elliott. Row 7, that's where you'll find last week's winner and one of the round of 8 drivers, the owner of PGR eSports and Team PGR, Michael Triscaro. To his outside, it'll be KSR's Joe Huerta in the Hyper-Ice Toyota Supra. He'll roll from 14th. Row 8, it'll be Dylan Jones in the 11, the all-white 11 machine tonight. And to his outside, the playoff driver, Logan York. He's 4th in points coming into tonight, looking to keep his incredible season rolling. Row 9, D3, Daniel Eberhardt. He'll roll from 17th in the 90. It'll be Aubrey Thompson to BAR to his outside in the 18th position. Brock Westmoreland, one of the other playoff drivers that made his way to the round of 8. He'll start in 19th with Kenny McCullough in the 0-3, the boss man of McCullough Motorsports to his outside. In 20th, last 2 cars in the field tonight, Sean Corbett in the 45. He'll start 21st. And Jimmy Emos in the 67 will start shotgun on the field in 22nd. 22 cars have made the trip. We are all set to go for Tuesday Night Thunder Racing in the round of 8. And boy, if you missed this season to this point, you picked a great time to get into this season, to kind of get yourself acclimated to this season, to this series. It's been some of the best racing of each week has been on Tuesday nights, and we're ready to do it again. 75 laps on tap, a stage break at the conclusion of lap number 25. So if you watch during the regular season, normally it was 60 laps with a stage at the conclusion of 20. Playoffs a little bit longer, 75 laps tonight with a stage at the end of lap 75. Stage points are paid out. Lap lead points are paid out. Points for the win obviously are paid out, but a win locks you into the Final Four. A driver could lock their way into the Championship 4 tonight with a victory at the World Center of Racing. 8 drivers come in, and 4 are going to try to set themselves apart tonight as we head to next week to get ready for next week when we set our championship for who will be the first to punch their ticket to the championship race and a chance at a big-time payout. We're going to find out tonight. Garrett Maines and Matthew Baker bring the field into the restart zone for the first time. The green flag is out. We're racing in Tuesday Night Thunder. What a great camera angle, capturing the speed of these race cars as they came out the banking for the first time and complete lap number 1, and it is all Garrett Maines in the 1 that goes to the front. Again, the 14 on the timing and scoring. He is the number 1 on the side of the car, so a little bit of a timing and scoring mishap there. But Andrew Navarro says, I don't think so. I want a piece of this action as well. The defending champ's going to go to the lead for the first time, and the top 4 are all playoff drivers. As they run right now, Navarro gets turned. Andrew Navarro, Jeff Merck to the inside. They both slide through the grass. Jeff Merck goes for a longer slide than the 44. Both cars have big damage, and the caution flag waves. Boy, a quick mishap for 2 of our playoff drivers. Navarro and Jeff Merck both have damage in the opening laps of tonight's race. 2 of the 8 that came into tonight in the playoffs are involved in this first accident, and it started, I believe, with the 2 involved. I believe they get together here off turn number 4, and I'm not sure if there's an added incident here. We'll take a look. Oh, man, there was. Oh, man. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll go back and watch the first wreck first that involved Andrew Navarro and Jeff Merck. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a great idea. We may have to go up top here. I believe that's what we're going to have to do. We'll go up top. Watch Jeff Merck in the 60, that light blue turquoise and black car on the inside. Behind Andrew Navarro, the sky blue and white and yellow number 44. And it's that push right there that shoots Andrew to his right. He was not expecting that hard to push. And both of them get sideways. And let's kind of keep up with them here, see if there's anything else that happens. We'll go up to the secondary incident involving Garrett Maines here in a moment. No rear end already for Merck. There's considerable front end damage on the 44 Navarro. And this is not the start that either of these guys wanted. So we'll go back and take another look at this first incident first, and then we'll go up and see what happened to Garrett Maines. I don't think there's a really great TV camera for this. We'll try this one. Kind of coming straight at you down the backstretch here. And it's this push right here. You see Jeff Merck. You see the right front of his car out from behind Andrew Navarro? And it's going to be that push that kind of hooks Navarro to his right into Garrett Maines. They also collect Matthew Baker. He gets a piece of that as well. And Merck gets turned by Trevin Oswernoth, who not much he could do by the time they slowed down. Really couldn't do a whole lot. He was on the brakes. And these 2 both slide into the infield. Now, up ahead, what happens here? This is a secondary incident. So, at this point, the caution's not out. So, when this is all happening, when Navarro and Merck slide to the inside, at this point, the caution's still not out. And I'll tell you how far it actually took to get it. It's still not out. Still not out. It's not going to be out until these guys reach the middle of turns 3 and 4. So now watch as Baker maybe tries to get back across Garrett. Maybe tries to take a look to the inside. He gets kind of hesitant. Turns Garrett to his right. And this was almost complete catastrophe for both Baker and Maines. That would have been a really severe incident on lap number 3. Luckily, Garrett somehow, some way is able to keep that car, number 1, straight, and number 2, off the racetrack, at least long enough to get back to Trevor, who just nearly avoids a collision with Garrett Maines. And Garrett somehow, again, is able to maintain control of that car. And in fact, I think it's worthy of an onboard look. Now let's take you through the whole sequence. You're on board with Garrett Maines in the 1. Watch his hands. Back, fourth, back. Corrects, back to the center. Back up on track, corrects. And again, if you look back here at the end of the season, that might be a season saver for the 1 of Garrett Maines. So we're getting ready to go back to green flag action on lap number 6. It'll be 70 laps to go in tonight's race and 20 to go in stage number 1. It is Jimmy Emos who finds himself the race leader in the Yokohama number 67 Toyota Supra. Everybody else behind him came to pit road. Several have come back for a second round of service here with 1 lap to go, so we'll re-rack the cars on track right now for you. Row 1, Emos next to Matthew Baker. Row 2 will be Matt Lee and Garrett Maines. Row 3 will be Devin Ray and Jared Haynes. Row 4 is where you'll find Michael Triscaro and Landon Velicki. Row 5, Joe Huerta and Aubrey Thompson. And then Mark Mundell, Sean Corbett, the only cars left that only pit once under this pit cycle. Good time to mention that last week's winner, Michael Triscaro, is sporting a brand new, and of course it goes to a camera, you can't see it, a brand new paint job aboard the number 34 machine, as he has brought on Prime Hydration Drink to the number 34, and that is a sleek looking red, white, and blue machine. You'll see it come by our camera here on the back straight away. A very sharp new look for Michael Triscaro as Prime comes on board, and more to come on Thursday about Prime Hydration Drink and PGR eSports. I'm not going to spill too many beans tonight, but more to come on Thursday night for the Intimidator Super Speedway Series race here on PGR eSports. I'll mention that again later in tonight's broadcast, but a really great look tonight for Michael Triscaro, who brings on a new look for the round of 8, and hoping it'll bring him some good luck as well as he continues to try to forge his way into the Championship 4. All right, here we go again. It will be 20 laps to go in stage number 1 and 70 to go in the race. Jimmy Emos and Matthew Baker bring the field back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, and away we go towards turn number 1. It's a big restart for Jimmy Emos, but his help is about a car length and a half back. Maines and Baker are all by their lonesome here on the top side. Triscaro says, nope, not going to make that last very long, and Matt Lee may do the same should he get a decent run here through 1 and 2, but not going to be enough. Here comes Matthew Baker, the Coasting Thunder Chevrolet to the outside of Matt Lee. Now to the right elbow of Jimmy Emos, and Matthew Baker will look for the race lead for the first time. Down the Daytona Super Stretch, and halfway down the backstretch they go. It is Matthew Baker in the 5. It is Garrett Maines in the 1, and then Emos, Lee, Devin Ray on the bottom, Triscaro, Aubrey Thompson, Jared Haynes top side. Baker, quick clear down here in turn 3. Garrett Maines will get to his right flank here as they come off turn number 4. A couple more cars join the party here at the front of the field. It's Joe Huerta. It is Landon Velicki. It is Sean Corbett. Coming to the party, Matt Lee tries to squeeze his way in, and Devin Ray cuts him a break. New leader at the line, Garrett Maines. Triscaro stays up, hangs Maines out to dry, and it'll be last week's winner. Going to the front, Michael Triscaro right back to the point at Daytona. He won last week's race, looking to go 2 for 2 here this week and lock himself a spot in the Championship 4. Again, a playoff driver, should they win tonight, locks themselves a spot in our Championship 4 race in 2 weeks' time. Actually, I believe it's in 3 weeks' time. It's 2 weeks' time. I believe we're taking the week off of the July 4th holiday, but nonetheless, Michael Triscaro, Garrett Maines, elbow to elbow, both playoff drivers, both could lock themselves a spot in the Final 4 with a win tonight in Daytona. A couple more cars here at the front that have a say in that. Matthew Baker is one of them. Then you got to go back, I believe, to Logan York would be the next one back in 15th. He, Navarro, Westmoreland, and then our other 2 playoff drivers, I believe we might have had one miss the race. I'll have to go back and look at that in a minute because we got battling up front. Garrett Maines goes to the lead. Matthew Baker clears himself, but not for very long because his help is nowhere to be found. Jimmy Emos half a car length off. Triscaro gets clear. Does he drop on the nose of Matthew Baker here into 3? Nope, he's going to hang, continue to hang, and now Aubrey Thompson says, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to drop down, and the 69 goes to the second spot. Bright green look, almost reminds me of a dirt late model in the 69. That's kind of the vibe I got when I saw that paint scheme for the first time. He goes to second, but now he almost gets turned. Matthew Baker gets on his bumper a little too hard, and the inside line falls apart. Here comes Triscaro. He's back to the point. It is 12 laps to go, or excuse me, it is 17 laps to go in stage number 1. Michael Triscaro down clear of the bottom now. Topside, Haynes blocked Navarro. It didn't really work for either of them as both of them are going backwards. Matt Lee, Devin Ray, Matthew Baker, thank you very much. We're going to the outside line and going to go for the race lead. Matt Lee to the right side here, right door number of Michael Triscaro. He'll even up now down the backstretch and headed for 3. And as they climb the banking, it's the 2-time winner this season, Matt Lee, that goes to the point on the banking of turns 3 and 4, but not for long. Look at that push the bottom's getting, and Triscaro back to a half-car length lead. Garrett Maines is pushing on him with Aubrey Thompson in support. Devin Ray, Matthew Baker up top side further back. Emos, Velicki, Haynes, Huerta, Navarro all lurk at the back half of the top 10. Mike Davenport as well. Logan York has joined the party as Matt Lee continues to maintain the race lead. York, Navarro go topside. They're going to be the first really to try the safer barrier and see if they can't make some hay. A couple more playoff drivers coming to join the party at the front of the field. The 44, the 02. Both drivers very capable of winning this season. Navarro, the only one, I believe, in the playoffs without a win, or at least one of the only ones in the playoffs without a win. And that's funny considering he is the defending champ and a multi-time winner last season in these cars. Lee cleared down. Devin Ray now up to the outside. He'll get clear of the middle lane, and now he'll get a shot to lead potentially here for a lap. Give that lap to the bucked-up Chevrolet of Devin Ray, but outside, it's the challenge from Navarro and York coming to the front. 2 rows of 3 wide racing, and 4 or 5 of these drivers are playoff cars. Ray washes up into Navarro. Somehow, someway, we all keep it straight. Boy, I don't know how that worked. Triscaro, again, thank you very much. He's going to go back to the race lead as a result of that little kerfuffle there on the back straightaway. And he will get a nice, healthy push from Garrett Maines. He'll actually maintain the lead headed for the banking in 3. But Navarro and York will not be denied. They are still up top, still trying to make hay, and they are working it so far. And Mike Davenport's coming to the rescue. The cavalry is on the way for the top side. Jimmy Emos almost washed up. Now Michael Triscaro will do some lane control here, do some housekeeping at the front of the field. Go up to Lee, back down to Maines. And Michael Triscaro's working the lines back and forth. Pied Piper here at Daytona. And boy, again, that sleek paint job sure looks good leading the race. And it's a familiar spot. He led several laps last week and was able to get to victory lane for the first time in Tuesday Night Thunder in last week's race. Maines not going to have any of that for very long. He goes on the bumper of Matt Lee as they clear them on the bottom side. And here comes Garrett Maines. He'll go to the lead. Matt Lee may get clear to second. They're both going to be able to drop down into 3, and they both will. Matt Lee's hanging, and Devin Ray says, I'm going to the back. I don't like what I see. I don't like how these guys are racing. It doesn't feel right. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to save my car, save my race for later. Actually only slots in about 8 spots back, maybe 5th on the outside in front of Jared Haynes. 12 down, 13 to go in stage number 1. Michael Triscaro back to the outside, 63 to go in the race. Off turn 2. Down the back straightaway again. Here comes Triscaro once again. The aggression has gotten behind the wheel of the 34. He wins a race last week and decides, all right, I got basically, I'm not going to say nothing to lose, but at this point I know I can do it. I can go up there and I can compete and I can race with these big dogs and even get to victory lane when the situation presents itself. And so now he's on the hunt. He wants a spot in the Final Four. He smells blood in the water. The 34 knows he has the speed to make it into the championship 4. Can he get a victory tonight to solidify his place? Pit stops coming. Probably in the next few laps. They are very, very close. Aubrey Thompson, Andrew Navarro, and Logan York. You see York starting to back off. He's going to try to find a space in line. As Triscaro will lane control a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised with how close these pit stops are that he's going to go up and try to lane control here, but He will nonetheless, and now his spot's going to get filled on the bottom. Garrett Maines and Matt Lee were able to make enough ground there on the backstretch that they trap him up on the outside, and Baker jumps right back up as well, and all of a sudden we go from 4 cars up top to about 9, back to Daniel Eberhardt. Eberhardt, the final car in that top lane, behind Dylan Jones, Joe Huerta, Mike Davenport, Logan York, Matthew Baker, Andrew Navarro, Aubrey Thompson now are the 8 cars in the top lane. Bottom lane is Triscaro, Maines, Matt Lee, Landon Velicki, Jimmy Emos, Sean Corbett, and I believe Richard Elliott as well. Richard Elliott missed the start. You saw him come off pit road when we went to our static cameras on the first lap. You saw him come off pit road. He has rejoined the field as a result of the caution. 3 wide. Baker and York jump to the right side of Andrew Navarro. Will they get any speed? They will here in the middle of the corner, but it's going to trap the middle lane. It's going to stall it a lot. And Triscaro and company are now fading very well. Man, Triscaro thought about going back to the middle. He realized that was not the move. Number 1 this close to pit stops, and number 2 with the stall that happened in the middle lane. Now he's going to come up and get across Aubrey Thompson. Let's see if he goes right back down to Garrett here in the middle of the corner. He will. Very quick lane changes, but hey, sometimes it's the difference between keeping the lead and losing the lead if you can get just a few extra degrees for the guy in behind you on that bottom lane. So Triscaro trying to milk everything he can out of that. Number 1, he gets turned. Triscaro into the wall. Did he bust a toe link right there in the 34? Let's hope the steering isn't thrown out too much for Michael Triscaro. He's able to maintain speed. He's going to maintain the pack as well. But did the steering get compromised in that incident? Remember, no fast repairs for these guys tonight, so Triscaro, that's a pretty rough hit to the outside wall, so we'll wait and see if the 34 is compromised at all by that incident on the backstretch. Landon Velicki is trapped by himself on the outside. It's now Maines, Lee, Navarro, Velicki, Thompson. About to be Maines, Lee, Navarro, Thompson, York, your top 5. And how about Jimmy Emos? Currently 7th, about to be 6th, slotted in very nicely for pit stops here on this first round. And I'm looking for the 34. Okay, he's still up to speed back there in front of Devin Ray next to Matthew Baker. Man, top side. Dylan Jones and Daniel Eberhardt have a crazy run to the outside of the racetrack. These guys up front aren't pushing. They're taking advantage. And Velicki, man, he's saying, what did I do? He gets hung out. He might find a spot here in front of Joe Huerta. And he will probably drop in. He's going to stay up for a moment. And here come Baker and Baker and Davenport. They start to come forward as lap 18 hits the board. 8 to go in stage number 1. Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, Logan York to the outside. They're going to challenge for the race lead while these others have dropped in line. You see Davenport and Baker further back have all dropped in, awaiting this pit stop. And here come a few. Jimmy Emos, Sean Corbett, the first 2 to dive off the speedway. They will both get to pit road safely. It appears both got down to speed and in safely. Now only Eberhardt and York top side. It is Jones, Maines, and the rest of the field on the bottom side of the racetrack. Now only 2 rows of double file as pit stops are well underway with under 7 laps to go in stage number 1. There's a gap back from Davenport to Velicki. It's about half a second, but they are starting to make that gap back up. So not going to be a gap for very long as Eberhardt and York, man, they are trapped. If these guys come to pit road right here, they're either going to have to make a little bit of a risky maneuver to try to stay on the race, or come down from the top to pit, or they're going to have to stay out and go an extra lap. Could see them doing either. Off turn 4, does anybody pit this time? No. It'll be 6 laps to go, stage number 1, when they hit the line again. Dylan Jones is your leader in the 11. Daniel Eberhardt, Garrett Maines trail him with Matt Lee, Logan York, and Andrew Navarro close as well. From there on, it is single file from Aubrey Thompson on back as we await this second group to come down pit road. Vondell, Kenny McCullough up top, about 10 rows deep in the field. And again, we talked about Eberhardt and York, but the leaders have started to push the pace on the bottom side. It's not faring well for those 2 cars up top. I believe they'll have to find a spot and drop in. They're trapped right now Again, you're going to have to make it very risky here, and that's just if everybody comes to pit road. Off turn 4, nobody that time either. Actually, one further back, it is Jeff Merck that dives to pit road by his lonesome into the 60. 5 to go. Stage number 1. Stage points paid out. 5 to the stage winner, 4 to second, 3 to third, 2 to fourth, and 1 to fifth. So for the playoff guys, those points absolutely still matter. And to give you a perspective of the point situation coming in, Matthew Baker has a current 17-point lead above the cut line. He has got his bonus points that transfer through the entire season and through each playoff round, and he has the most of anybody, as he is 17 points above the cut. Garrett Maines is 6 above the cut, so he could really use some points here. Then Merck is 1 above. Logan York is tied. And then it's Triscaro tied. Navarro 3 back. Jason Maines 3 back. And Brock Westmoreland 3 back. Contact. Garrett Maines, Dylan Jones come together. Multiple cars around. Matthew Baker, the points leader. He's into the inside wall, and he's spinning sideways. Now, it would be a little bit more catastrophic if there was not a stage caution coming in the next couple of laps. So for Matthew Baker, that is by far not a fatal blow, as he will get that stage caution here in just a moment. So I know he hates the idea of maybe losing some track position, but again, not going to be that big a deal, since again there's a stage caution coming. The 2 PGR cars stay on the racetrack. It is Davenport and Westmoreland. They will likely pit this time by and cede the lead to those cars that just came down pit road. Davenport is quick here on entry, but got it woed down. Westmoreland quick as well, but both, I believe, got it woed down in time. About a 4-car split here for potentially the stage. Can Matt Lee and company stay towed up? I think they will. They're going to stay within tow range here, I do believe. They got to get hooked up, though, and they're not yet. The gap has grown over 1.1 seconds. It's almost 1.2. With 2 laps to go in the stage, Garrett Maines may be home free here. They are hooked together back there around Matt Lee. Now they got to go. 3 laps to go in the stage still. Westmoreland, Davenport will be bypassed by the leaders here in the middle of the corner. You'll see them flash by on the apron. And there they are. They might be able to hook to that second group. If they get up on track quickly enough, it'll be really close. Does not appear they're going to be able to hook back. But here comes that second group of cars. And you see Daniel Eberhardt. He wants them there. Dylan Jones dives out of line at the last possible second. Now gets in front of Daniel Eberhardt. What a strategic move there by those two. They're going to split and make this second group pick between staying in line or going around. And they split up as well, and that works really well for Dylan Jones and Daniel Eberhardt. It might work even better for Andrew Navarro, who now slots to second on the inside. Maines topside, he'll pick up Dylan Jones, who gets turned by Eberhardt. Does everybody hold on? My goodness, how did those 2 cars stay straight? No idea. Devin Ray as well, how did he stay off of it? And Joe Huerta squeaks through as well. Mono at the front between playoff drivers, really 3 of them battling for 3 stage spots, and the push goes to the top side. Here comes Garrett Maines. Devin Ray, Joe Huerta will lurk, and who they pick may decide who wins this stage. Off turn number 4, down to the start-finish line. It's Garrett Maines that will inherit the lead. Logan York to the outside now, and Matt Lee flips track position. He goes with the 0-2. He will now push Logan York on this final lap of stage number 1. Logan York looking for a much-needed big buffer over some of those other cars behind him, including Andrew Navarro, who's to his left elbow. Devin Ray and Joe Huerta slot with the bottom 2, and as such, that line will surge down the back. Andrew Navarro, does he get a chance to go up? Does Garrett Maines maybe clear up in front of Logan York? Matt Lee, one of the best in the business at pushing. They're all coming together. They're really close together. Matt Lee gets hooked out of line. Eberhardt goes across Joe Huerta. They're going to slide back up. The caution flag may fly here, and it does. Stage 1 is over. Garrett Maines, a big boost for him. He's now over 11 points above the cut line as a result of stage points right there. As they come across the line, which is imagine how I think they will be scored, Maines is now going to be 11 points above the cut. Logan York will be 3 points above the cut line. And Andrew Navarro will now be 1 point above the cut line in 4th. He'll jump both Jeff Merck, they're actually going to be tied for that 4th position. Merck, by virtue of a win, will have the tiebreaker. So Navarro now slots to 5th, Triscaro 6th. Brock Westmoreland will be 7th in points tentatively without Jason Maines in the field, and Jason Maines will be 8th in points. What a run in Stage 1. That was a lot of fun. It's still 50 laps to go in this race, and these guys are laying it all on the table early. Stage 1 of the book, Stage 2 coming up here in just a moment. As Garrett Maines captures a stage win, Andrew Navarro flips his points position. Logan York captures some needed stage points as well. A missed opportunity for a few other playoff drivers. Luckily, this allows points leader Matthew Baker to get back in this race, as he had a mishap on pit road. So we will get you ready for the race start here in just a moment. Again, in about 50 laps time, a playoff driver could potentially lock their way into the round of 4. And I mean, what an incredible night it could be for somebody in this field, because then that makes next week, I'm not going to say completely stress-free. I don't think that's the right way to put it. Obviously, you're still trying to maintain momentum. You're still trying to potentially capture some bonus points for that final race of the season. Or, excuse me, actually, those are not going to carry over into that final race. So, disregard what I said there, but still, you want to keep your momentum. I mean, that's still very much a factor in these races. You don't want to get, out of your flow, out of your rhythm with one race to go. You still want to keep things moving the right direction and get yourself prepped, get yourself tuned up, if you will, for that final race. So next week's not really stress-free, but if you win tonight, you do have the guarantee that you'll be racing for that championship. You don't have to worry as hard about that. You can just worry about, okay, I'm going to do everything I can tonight to get myself in a good spot for next week mentally, get myself ready, get myself confident, ready to go when the big money is on the line in the round of 4. Coming to the restart, stage number 2. It'll be 47 laps to go from Daytona. Garrett Maines, Andrew Navarro will be on row 1. Matt Lee, Logan York on row 2. Mike Davenport and Aubrey Thompson on row 3. Landon Velicki, Richard Elliott, row 4. Rounding out the top 10, that'll be Jared Haynes and Sean Corbett. Or will it? Apologies. Sean Corbett, he's lined up 10th. He is a lap down. Should have looked up my scoring. He is a lap down. Trevin Osmernoth has, I believe, called it a night. Nope, he's not called it a night. He's sitting on pit road with a ton of damage to the 89. I'm unsure what happened. We don't have time to look. We'll look under their next caution if we get a chance. He's got big damage on that car. Not sure what happened to Trevin Osmernoth. We'll go back under our next yellow flag, if there is one, and take a look at what happened to the 89. What a weird scenario. 47 laps to go at Daytona. Garrett Maines, Andrew Navarro looking to punch their ticket to the final round in a few weeks' time. And a few guys behind them looking to play some spoiler and make their way into that round as well. Green flag is back in the air. We're underway for stage number 2. Garrett Maines inside, Andrew Navarro outside. Matt Lee got a great start in behind Garrett Maines. Their help behind them did not, but neither did the help up top. Logan York gets a good start, but Aubrey Thompson, Richard Elliott about a car length off. So it's a battle of pushers here in turn number 1. Give the advantage to no one right now. Elbow to elbow racing here on the banking in turns 1 and 2. Now give a slight edge to Garrett Maines, but here comes Navarro thundering. Another backstretch. Maines out the bumper of Matt Lee. Lee tries to square back up, immediately keep their momentum going, but it's going to shuffle a couple of guys out and allow Andrew Navarro to the race lead in 3. Navarro, the defending champ, has yet to win this season. He has a few podium finishes, and that's about it to his name. No stage wins, no wins coming into tonight. No bonus points, which is so odd considering his results last season. He's looking to punch his ticket to the round of 4, play the Matt Crafton scenario out perfectly here over the next 2 weeks, or just win his way in and make it easier. Logan York looking to take that away from him, though. York a winner this season, a one-time winner, and looking to get win number 2, but now plays it safe. Very interesting, out of character from Logan York here in the early going, and that's what playoff racing will do to you. It'll make you think differently. I've been there more than once. I understand the mentality is a lot different when you're in the postseason than when you're in just a normal race. Maines throws a massive block on Matt Lee and jumps out to the outside of Navarro, and that will hang him to the wind here going into turn number 3. And man, oh man, Garrett Maines, that was aggressive on lap 30. We'll see how Matt Lee thinks of that later in the race, see how much of a break he's going to cut Garrett. But speaking of Lee, he'll go side by side with Garrett Maines. It'll be a drag race to the line. Give that lap to the 1. But Matt Lee is dead even with that car. Aubrey Thompson, Richard Elliott, the BAR teammates are up front here as well. And look, don't look now. But back from his pit road mishap a moment ago, Matthew Baker is back inside the top 10. He is position number 8. 4th in line on the top side. Then it's the pair of KSR teammates, Joe Huerta and Devin Ray. Huerta going to stick middle, Ray going to stick bottom. As Matt Lee goes to the race lead in 3. 45 laps to go. We are almost halfway. Still at least one pit stop remaining based on our pace in that opening stage. It's going to be really close. If some guys save back around Logan York, back around Brock Westmoreland, Jeff Merck, Michael Triscaro, if those guys save, they'll at least give themselves a chance of making this on one stop. It's going to be very close. Still just too wide at the front. Now Garrett Maines up in front of Matt Lee, and we see him do this all the time where he jumps up, gets in front of the car in front of him, and then jumps right back down here going into 3 across the bumper of Navarro. Let's see if he does it here. Going to stay up this time on Matt Lee's bumper. Bottom side, Navarro, Davenport, Baker, and then Veliky. Playoff update for you here. Lap 32 coming to 33. You see Maines, Navarro, and Baker. Right now, your 3 highest playoff drivers in the field. Then you got to go back to 13th. Logan York is 13th. Brock Westmoreland 14th. Jeff Merck 15th. Michael Triscaro is 16th. Now 17th on the Speedway. The only playoff driver not in the field tonight is Jason Maines. He missed tonight's race, unfortunately. So he will take a points hit as a result of tonight's race. Navarro back to the lead. The bottom side surges to the inside of Garrett Maines. Mike Davenport, Matthew Baker coming with him. And Veliky trying to get up here and fill a little bit, make this bottom line a little bit stronger. And I think that most of these guys from about 10th on back have decided, besides Logan York, of course, that perhaps saving is the way to go. That maybe if you save a couple laps here, a couple laps there, that you might just be able to make it work on one stop. And it could be a race-changing decision. Oh, trouble! Mike Davenport turned on the bumper of Matthew Baker. May have gotten into Aubrey Thompson and Matt Lee as well. And he was able to save it, but he's going to lose quite a bit of time. He will lose the draft. out behind the pack. Another car has called it a night tonight. Daniel Eberhardt called it a night under our last caution on the stage break. Unsure what happened to him either. Believe he may have had some problems as a result of that incident in turn 4. I thought he had saved it, but we'll have to take a look at that as well under our next caution if we get a chance. Man, look at the run Navarro and Baker got on the inside pretty much all alone. Not much help for those two cars down there, and yet Navarro was able to get all the way to the race lead. Jimmy Emos coming to help now. Again, a great run forming so far for the 67. But Matt Lee drops down. He'll get the lead. Garrett Maines now waiting on Albury Thompson. And it's Lee, Navarro, Baker on the bottom. It's Maines, Thompson, Elliott up top. Then Emos, York are right here in this first group as well. And then you got to go back about 5 car lengths to Velicki, Vondell, Huerta, Kenny McCullough, Devin Ray, and the rest of the field. Navarro out of line from Matt Lee. He'll get pushed by Garrett Maines. Side by side again. And it's the defending champ that goes back to the point in the banking of turns 1 and 2 on the bumper of Garrett Maines. I'll tell you, Garrett Maines has looked very good tonight. He's thrown the aggression in. You know from last season that he did this last season as well. As the playoffs got later, he got more aggressive and almost won him a championship. Andrew Navarro was able to pull through in that championship race and win his first Tuesday Night Thunder title. Garrett Maines looking to right that wrong from last season and go back to championship victory lane. Matthew Baker looking to become a 2-time champ, as he has had by far the most dominant regular season of anybody. 5 wins, 2 stage wins for the points leader coming into tonight. Garrett Maines was hot on his heels, a win and 6 stage wins. But a mere whopping 11 bonus points separated those two. And now we are into some fuel saving. With 39 laps to go, the fuel saving game has begun. We enter a single file portion of this race that I'm a little bit surprised we're entering right now. So we are into a single file portion of this race, ladies and gentlemen, about halfway through, and it's a lull in the excitement of this series, but it is for a reason. It's because some of these guys are trying to fuel save potentially to make it on a one-stop strategy here for the remainder of the night. Some guys coming forward. Kenny McCullough, Dylan Jones. I believe Jeff Merck might have been one of them. So is Michael Triscaro. York's going to try to pick up Jimmy Emos, but I thought Emos was going to go to the backside of the field, but now as soon as they start fuel saving, they get right back out to 2 wide. Here comes Matt Lee. Matthew Baker on his bumper. Lee to lead. Baker to second. Thompson will get his bumper now. And we're right back to racing. Oh, trouble! Matt Lee, Navarro, they're going to all spin! The big one strikes in turns 3 and 4, and Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines are caught up in it. Playoff implications on lap 39 right as we hit a lull, and I was looking at scoring, and it is big damage for Garrett Maines. Oh, no. The playoff drivers have been struck in turn 3. Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines have suffered big-time damage on lap 40. And it all started with Matt Lee. I have no idea how a couple of these guys kept going, Lee included. You saw it happen live. Let's try to get a better look at it here and see what happened heading up the banking in turn 3. A quintessential left rear bumper hook. Oh, and then some like shotgun netcode. Maines gets into Navarro, who gets into Baker. Thompson then hooks Navarro. Oh, man, big hit right there for Navarro and Garrett Maines. And then if we look back, the Hood escapes the 1. The 44, the 69 tangle. Logan York, Vondell tangle. Oh, Landon Velicki. Oh, man, nowhere for him to go. Nowhere for Joe Huerta to go either. He's going to get him. Man, Aubrey Thompson gets battered around in this. But Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines are the major storylines in this incident because we have major championship implications in this incident on lap number 40. Let's go up top. And the interesting thing about these cars is that unlike the trucks after the update, you can still repair a considerable amount of damage on these cars and not have any negative effects, but there is no fast repair tonight. You're going to have to hope you can fix it and stay up to speed. And you see there the bumper hook, and then you see Garrett Maines, Andrew Navarro come together. Watch Matthew Baker right here. I don't know how in the world he keeps it going straight. Excuse me. He's going to use the safer barrier for some help. Jimmy Emo skirts by. Richard Elliott trying to slow down. He's going to get by. Big time damage for Garrett Maines and Andrew Navarro. Because watch here. They're going to slide back down. Velicki probably saves Navarro from ending his race right there, but then Navarro gets hit again. And there is considerable damage on his machine. We'll take one more look at it. Man, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You see these cars pile in, and it's playoff implications for both Navarro and Maines, who now sit on pit road, and we await to see if they remain on the lead lap. Field is off, turn number 4, and still both of the championship contenders remain on pit road with damage here under our third caution of the night with 35 laps to go. I mean, this could be a season-altering incident here just outside of lap number 40. See Emos roll off pit road. The field is coming. And these two cars will both roll and beat the pace car. Navarro looks to be clean. Maines, not sure. Verdict is still out. We will rack them up. We will go again with 33 laps to go. So here we go again. Lap 43. 33 laps to go. And we await to see how fast, how up to speed Navarro and Maines will be when we take the green flag in just a moment. We'll keep an eye on them. McCullough, Lee, row 1. Elliott, York, row 2. Ray and Haynes, row 3. Baker and Davenport on row number 4. 33 laps to go in the round of 8. race number 1. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona. And look back towards the tail end of this pack. That's where you'll find Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines. And let's see if they're up to speed. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't think they are. They're going to get rolling here on the backstretch. Let's see. Well, I stand corrected. They are still up to speed. Somehow, some way, these two cars are alive. Now, whether or not they can make moves and get position, that's a different story. But for the moment, they're still in the race. Matt Lee, Kenny McCullough, elbow to elbow for the race lead. Elliott and York, the 202 cars on the racetrack, are side by side for second. 32 laps to go at Daytona. And great racing here at the front. McCullough versus Matt Lee, a pair of non-playoff drivers tonight. But guys looking to play spoiler. Logan York, he's looking for a monumental win in his season. What a win it would be for Logan York if he could get to victory lane. And right now, he's the only playoff driver really that's in a position to be in that spot to win this race. He's currently the highest running of the playoff drivers. You got to go back to Matthew Baker, then Triscaro, Merck, Navarro, Maines are the next 5 after him. Then Brock Westmoreland has lost the draft back in 17. He's going to look for the lead here, headed for turn number 1. A landmark season that's seen Logan York capture his first Tuesday victory and run some of the most consistent that we have seen anybody in this field run week in, week out. In 30 laps time, if this track position sticks, he could be punching his ticket to race for a championship here on Tuesday nights. He's going to drop down across Matt Lee. New leader in turn 3. It's the blue and black, number 02 of Logan York. And now only 2 cars left up top. It's Haynes and Davenport. Meanwhile, Navarro and Garrett Maines have caught the tail end of the back of the field. They are up to speed, and they are on the tail end of the draft. Now, how much can they kind of make up? Well, that remains to be seen. For now, they're going to fall in 14th and 15th at the back end of this lead draft and kind of just go from there as to whether or not they will maintain the lead draft. Logan York leads. Matt Lee second. McCullough drives through to third. Haynes, Davenport, Elliott hanging tough as well. Then it's Devin Ray, Matthew Baker, Joe Huerta, Mark Mondale, Dylan Jones, Michael Triscaro, Jeff Merck, Andrew Navarro, and Garrett Maines. Those are the cars left in our lead draft. The cars out of the lead draft: Landon Velicki, Sean Corbett, Aubrey Thompson, Jimmy Emos, Brock Westmoreland, who's now on pit road, and our 2 cars that are effectively out of the race: Trevor Osmernoth and Daniel Eberhardt. 29 laps to go. This time by it's almost crunch time here at Daytona. And what a fun time to be joining me if you just joined me. Round of 8 racing in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series, sponsored by Ron Morris Racing. 2 of the heavy-hitting drivers in the field, Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines, have suffered some setbacks and have damage on their race cars, but they are still coming to the front. You see them up on the outside line of the racetrack, about currently 12th and 14th on the speedway. They've suffered some setbacks. Another couple playoff drivers that have suffered setbacks. Jeff Merck was in the first incident, although he is still in the lead draft. And Brock Westmoreland has lost the draft back in 17th. To the outside, Jared Haynes. And though he is out of the playoffs, he's still looking for his first win here on Tuesdays, and he's looking to get it tonight. He'll battle side by side with Logan York for the lead. Give that lap to the 7. He may just get himself clear, headed for turn number 1. He will, and down he comes. He's going to have to hesitate, but he will be able to get down in front of Logan York. Davenport Ray hung out to dry for now. They will fall into the clutches of Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines further back that are making their way forward. And their pilgrimage back to the front to try to see what their cars have for the rest of the field. Haynes, York, Lee, the top 3. Davenport now hung out by Devin Ray. He's got Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines coming to him, though. But how much value will they be with damage on their race cars? They're going to lap past Jimmy Emos on the bottom side of the racetrack. 27 laps to go at Daytona. One more car has joined that outside line. It's Dylan Jones, and how we'll see a true test What can Navarro and Maines do as lead pushers on the outside against fully repaired race cars? They're trying to wind that run up. It hasn't wound up yet, but they're trying. And as soon as I say that, Navarro dives in. Maines may follow suit. They may just not have enough to be lead pushers, and that's going to neutralize their chances here for a little bit and put them in a tough situation, especially when it comes to we're going to have green flag pit stops, and when this field gets spread out, are those two cars going to be able to keep up? Lap 50 on the board, next time by 2/3 of the way through this first round of 8 event in Tuesday Night Thunder. Off turn 2, Maines, Davenport, and Dylan Jones are trying to make it work, and now they are starting to make it work. They're making hay. Welcome back to the front, Garrett Maines. But again, you have to consider there is damage on that race car that he will have to contend with when it comes to leading the race. Forget pushing. If you're leading, you may suffer from some aerodynamic issues. It may hinder him and slow him down a little bit. So far, as lead pusher, he looks fine. But it's a whole different beast when you're leading a line. He'll get Davenport clear, and we're about to see the true test right here. Davenport going to drop down to Jared Haynes, and now Garrett leads the top lane. Does he have speed to lead that line? We're going to get our answer very, very quickly. It is a resounding yes. Back to the point goes Garrett Maines, with a damaged race car and all. For now, back to the point, racing side by side with PGR's Mike Davenport, the defending Little Guys Series champion. Eliminated last week, looking to play spoiler this week. 1 pit stop to go. We imagine it will occur somewhere inside of the final 15 laps of this race at about 10 laps time. Garrett Maines to the point. Navarro still logged back in 12th, but Garrett Maines wasted no time getting back to the front of the field. Davenport washes up, almost contact between he and Matt Lee, and Garrett Maines now loses a little bit of help. Dylan Jones now has that help. On the top side, it's Matt Lee, Matthew Baker. They come to the 8 of the 11 of Dylan Jones. They are going to roll big time. Logan York bails to the top. Jared Haynes bails to the back. And now all of a sudden, Garrett is going to get double buried here. Well, I thought he was. Dylan Jones, the only one that drops down, as Matt Lee maintains the top side with Matthew Baker and Logan York. Off turn number 4, 23 to go. We are almost inside the pit window when anytime these guys want to come down pit road, they can. But still 1 pit stop remaining at some point in the final 23 laps of this race. I imagine it would be somewhere around 16 laps to go is when we will see these guys on pit road for the final time in tonight's race. From there, it becomes a question of will we go green or will we have overtime? And will these guys be in a bit of a strategy dilemma? Should we get some overtime? Lead at the bottom. In front of Dylan Jones. Baker, York, now the only 2 on the top side. They're going to try to make it work, but they'll probably need some more help than that. And just not much doing for them right now. Again, no cavalry up top to help them. They're hanging tough, but once Logan starts to run low on temps, they're going to probably fade backwards pretty quickly unless they get some help. And there they go. Baker, York, down the door, Garrett Maines. They're trying everything they can to stay up here, but it's just not working right now. There's not really enough cars close enough that would be willing to jump up and help them. Again, they make some hay down the backstretch, though, and they keep themselves relevant. Off turn 4, 21 laps to go. About 5 laps till I anticipate our final pit stop. It may be a little bit longer than that. Maybe a few laps, give or take. But it's a wait-and-see deal at this point to see how long these guys are willing to run, how far these guys are willing to push it to wait and make that last pit stop. Matt Lee on the inside leads in front of Dylan Jones and Garrett Maines. It's still just Baker and York on the outside. A couple more cars about to go a lap down. I believe it's Landon Velicky and Sean Corbett, which would leave us with 15 cars on the lead lap back to Mark Vondell, the final car in this lead draft. They're going to lap by those two cars. It's going to get sketchy for a moment as the field kind of scrambles. Oh! Logan York door slams Mike Davenport and sends him sliding to the inside. He's going to slide back up. He's going to make the save, but he's losing a considerable amount of time. And now only 14 cars in the lead track. Pit stops, 19 to go. They're going to short it. Garrett Maines is in. Kenny McCullough is in. Andrew Navarro almost gets in the back of Kenny McCullough. Oh, my goodness. That was almost disaster. So 4 cars, McCullough, Maines, Huerta, and Andrew Navarro are in on with 19 laps to go. So I imagine we'll see the rest of the field on pit road here this time by Matt Lee, Dylan Jones, Matthew Baker, Logan York, all the way back to Mark Vondell, I believe is who we'll see on pit road here this time by, unless someone has shouted for them to go an extra lap, but no, they have not. They are coming to pit road. Final pit stop of the night, coming for the rest of the leaders. They're going to go 4 wide here onto the pit lane. Dylan Jones shot it in there. So did Matt Lee, so did Logan York, and so did Matthew Baker. We're going to have to sort it out here down the long Daytona pit lane. And these guys will get it sorted out. And now it is crunch time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining me. Final pit stops underway in the round of 8, race number 1 for Tuesday Night Thunder. Who is going to have the best pit stop? Who's going to put themselves in a position to win the race and advance into the championship 4? 3 wide off pit road, seeds to 2, seeds to 1. Matt Lee, what a pit stop. Matthew Baker, same thing. And where, oh where, is Garrett Maines? I'll tell you where. They got separated, and guess who lost the draft? Andrew Navarro. He's 6 seconds back and fading from Garrett Maines, and Garrett is just barely going to overtake Richard Elliott. They're going to be over 2 seconds, over a second and a half back of the leaders. Well, they'll get a few of these stragglers here, but a ways to go to get to our race leaders. Lee, Baker, Jones, Ray, pretty much well together here, the top 4. Then Jared Haynes is in no man's land. Then Logan York and Jeff Merker hooked up, and there's where you find Garrett Maines, and that's about as far as he'll get, is 8th on the racetrack as these guys are up to speed. 16 laps to go, and it's Matt Lee out front, and Matthew Baker, he's in an awfully good spot right now. Maines trapped back in 7th position trying to get through traffic. Michael Triscaro, Jeff Merck trapped back in this group as well as Logan York. Andrew Navarro off the draft. So too is Brock Westerland. Matthew Baker is in a catbird seat right now. Next time by will mark 15 laps to go at Daytona. Just under 33 miles to go in the first race of the round of 8, and only 15 circuits separating us from potentially One driver locking his way into the round of 4 and racing for a championship in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. 15 to go. Maines trapped 9th. Navarro off the draft, trapped 14th. York, Merck, Triscaro 6th, 7th, and 8th. Matthew Baker, the lone playoff driver standing, looking for win number 6. But Logan York, Jeff Merck, Michael Triscaro, they're not going down without a fight. And I'll tell you, these guys, Dylan Jones, Devin Ray, Jared Haynes, Matt Lee, even Kenny McCullough, Mark Mondell, Joe Huerta, they're not going to give for these playoff guys. They're not just going to move over. Let me make that very clear. I have been in both positions. I've been a playoff driver. I've been a non-playoff driver. If you're a playoff driver, you obviously want those guys to move over and get out of the way and race you differently. If you're a non-playoff driver, you got nothing to lose in this race. Only a win to gain. You're only racing for the checkered flag. Points are out the window if you're anybody without a lowercase p next to your name on that scoring tower. So for Lee, for Ray, for Jones, for Haynes, it only means anything to win. Off turn 4. 13 laps to go. We're almost into single digits, and this field is still single file. Who's going to make the move? Who's going to be the first one to go and kind of set off what should be an incredible last several laps of racing? Who's going to be the first one to kind of boil over? You can feel the tension right now in this field. You can tell nobody wants to be the first one to move, but you might have to here. If you're Garrett Maines, Triscaro, Merck, York, you got to start thinking about it here. You got to get in position to win this race. Only 5 of our 7 that started the race, of our 8 total, have a chance to win. Either way, they're going to put themselves in a good point spot, but winning is so important in a system like this. Still single file. 12 laps remaining. Call your shot right now in the chat. I know we've got several people out there. I know I haven't been able to shout you guys out. I will shout you out here momentarily. Call your shot. If you're in the chat right now, who wins tonight's race in Daytona? First off, will it be a playoff guy or a non-playoff guy? And second off, depending on what you pick, who will go to victory lane when tonight's race is said and done? So again, if you're watching right now in the chat, call your shot. Let me know who you think's going to win tonight's race. There are 12 cars in the lead draft that have a chance at going to victory lane if this race stays green. $11 laps to go at Daytona. Next time by 10, and we start the countdown. To the checkered flag in tonight's race at Daytona. Do want to shout out the chat while we have a moment of calm before these guys get a little too crazy. Baker's mom, good to see you. Robert Miller, good to see you in chat as well. Carl Haynes, rooting on Jared Haynes. I'll tell you what, for the second week in a row, Jared's in a great spot. Can you get the job done? Devin Ray is on the racetrack. He's running 4th. Apparently has time to text and drive in the chat in 4th. And Big Roost as well. Good to see you guys in the chat. Big Roost calling for Joe Huerta. He's currently 12th. He does have a teammate up here, though. If he can make something happen, he does have one of his KSR teammates running 4th. Logan York is the first to move, but nobody goes with him. And he will be pinned now on the outside and go backwards. 9 laps remaining at Daytona. Single digits now remain. Under 15 miles until we figure out, will a non-playoff driver play spoiler, or will one of the 5 in this lead draft punch their ticket to the championship 4? Logan somehow keeping time up on the outside. He's making a little bit of hay. Very interesting. He's been able to get all the way to the right recorder panel with Dylan Jones. Nobody's still going with him, though. I'm kind of surprised. He's really taking a lot of momentum forward. I'm surprised, Jared Haynes. And now, right as I say that, Matthew Baker says it's time to go. And here we go. The switch just got flipped. Baker and York are the first 2 to move. Now Merck moves as well. Don't be surprised to see Triscaro jump up there. And now, all of a sudden, we've got racing at Daytona. The playoff guys have decided it's time to go. Matt Lee leads. It's all non-playoff guys first 4 on the bottom. It's playoff guys first 4 topside. And then Garrett Maines looms behind these leaders. Kenny McCullough, Mark Vondell, Joe Huerta as well are in this group. Matthew Baker, the 5-time winner to the point. He drops down across Matt Lee. Now it's York leading the top with Merck and Triscaro in tow. 4 out of the top 7 cars and 5 out of the top 9 are playoff drivers. Boy, oh boy, and look at the storylines. 5-time winner Matthew Baker, the points leader coming into tonight, the most dominant driver on the season, leads with 7 laps to go. Logan York, one of the most consistent drivers in the field, one of the most aggressive, and yet has also found victory lane. Could continue a momentous season for him. Jeff Merck, the resurgence from all that bad luck. Jeff Merck finds himself potentially one good move away from victory lane and a spot in the championship 4. And again, the same could be said for Michael Triscaro, whose resurgence came to a head last week when he won to get into this race. Baker going to split lanes, going to jump up. Matt Lee able to get a massive lead here off turn number 4. It might get Dylan Jones clear, but Lee says no thank you. Jumps up in front of Matthew Baker and controls lanes. 6 laps to go at Daytona in the round of 8. Jones, Lee, a pair of non-playoff cars on the front row. It's Matthew Baker behind them with Devin Ray in tow as well. Jared Haynes looms. So too does Garrett Maines, Logan York, Jeff Merck, and Michael Triscaro. Andrew Navarro, barring a caution, is down and out of this race. He's 13th, 32 seconds behind the leaders. Too much damage suffered in that wreck earlier on lap number 40. 5 laps to go at the line. Lee leads the way. Dylan Jones to his left elbow. And then a playoff train behind them on the outside. What a move by Michael Triscaro. He squeezes between Jeff Merck and Joe Huerta. They're going to have to break the gridlock here. Somebody's going to have to jump out. Somebody may have to make a bit of an aggressive move to win this race and punch their ticket. 5 laps to go. We are now getting to the territory where a caution would send us to overtime. 3 overtime attempts are available. And remember, these guys pit awfully close to the pit window. Would fuel become an issue? We'll have to wait and see. Matthew Baker, Logan York, Jeff Merck, Michael Triscaro, and Garrett Maines all going to try to maximize their points output. Dylan Jones, power move to the outside. He's able to change up. And now if you're Matthew Baker, you're now buried 3 cars deep on the top side. You got to think about maybe taking a look 3 wide. 4 laps to go at Daytona. It's Jones on the top side. It's Devin Ray for KSR on the bottom. Devin Ray looking to get a victory here tonight as well in Tuesday Night Thunder. Spoil the playoff party in the 2-car. He's got Jared Haynes with him, who wants to avenge last week's effort of missing the playoffs. He wants to go get a victory in the next week. He said, I'm going to keep coming out to the track. I'm going to keep putting myself in a position where I can win races. I'm going to go try to get to the victory lane before this season ends, and he's in a great spot. He runs 4th on the inside. Push comes back to the bottom. Baker continues to take a peek. Logan York, he'd go with him at first. He'd have to because neither of those cars are going to win from where they're at right now. To the line. 3 laps to go. In 2 laps' time, this race will be official. York jumps out. Merck jumps out. They're trying to hang Logan 3 wide. It doesn't work. The bait and switch did not work. Now Merck just takes a look himself. Jeff Merck to the right rear quarter panel of Logan York. It's Jeff Merck the first to move. The outside starts to surge. Dylan Jones gets a big run. He drops down to the bottom. Now it's Lee with Baker in tow, and Logan York and Jeff Merck get squeezed out of the line. Garrett Maines is backed up. He started to try to forge a spot here to try to go 3 wide. Jeff Merck still stuck outside. Maines stuck bottom of 3 wide. Matt Lee, Dylan Jones continue to battle for the win. It'll be 2 laps to go at Daytona when they get back around. If they make it one more time, this race will be official. Triscaro up in front of Merck. They're going to have to go. They got to get it wound up, but they're going to start to go. Dylan Jones is in control of this race as they climb the banking. Matthew Baker's got to think about making a move. He can't wait on his teammates, I don't think. You got to just go for it. Jones down the Daytona Superstretch. He's a lap and a half away from his first win of the season. Back down to the bottom. He sees the run coming with Devin Ray. Ray to his back bumper. York takes a step out of line. He took 1 step. Baker, you know he's going to block it if he can get there. Jones back topside. Ray and Lee almost come together. Matthew Baker, he's going to have to just go for it. He's going to have to just go for it. Jones is hanging between lanes. Through the tri-oval. White flag. 1 lap to go at Daytona. Here come the NBG cars. Baker across Triscaro's nose, and they have a run. What can they do with it? Matthew Baker looking to go to victory lane for the 6th time. It's stalled the middle. Logan York will now be lead pusher there in the middle side. Does Devin Ray get himself clear off turn number 2? Dylan Jones, all he probably has to do is block all the way home now. The 11 is home free unless that line starts to come from the outside. Here comes the top side. Matthew Baker's got to run. Jones to the middle to block. Matthew Baker side by side, and it's Devin Ray on the bottom. Ray to the bottom side. Big push from Jared Haynes. Everybody pushing squirrely, loose, side by side, and they're going to be 3x3 to the line. Who's going to get the job done? All the way home to the checkered flag. Who's got the best push? It's all the way on the top side, I think. At the line, it's a drag race. Baker wins it. Unreal. He can't be stopped. He cannot be stopped. It is win number 6 for Matthew Baker, and he goes to victory lane tonight at Daytona. Unreal. You want to talk about a dominant season? And that, I'll tell you, those 3 NBG cars tonight essentially timed that to perfection. And they're going to triple burn it down here. A little team burnout here on the front stretch. All 3 get good finishes. It's first for Baker. It's 4th for Triscaro. It is 7th for Merck unofficially. But Baker is the first to lock into the championship 4 by virtue of a victory tonight at Daytona. Stick with us. You'll get to hear from your top 3 in tonight's race in just a few moments. We're going to go through your finishing results first. But stick with us here in a few moments if you want to hear from Devin Ray, Dylan Jones, and race winner Matthew Baker. And also go through tonight's finishing results from Daytona. Matthew Baker wins by 17 one-thousandths of a second over Dylan Jones. Devin Ray comes home in 3rd with Michael Triscaro 4th and Matt Lee in the 5th position. Jared Haynes, another great run for the 7. He'll finish 6th tonight. Jeff Merck in 7th. Logan York 8th. Garrett Maines 9th. And Joe Huerta in 10th. Kenny McCullough is 11th tonight. Mark Vondell in 12th. Richard Elliott 13th. Andrew Navarro in 14th. Mike Davenport 15th. Landon Vetlicki 16th. Sean Corbett 17th. Albert Thompson in 18th, Jimmy Emos 19th, and Brock Westmoreland in 20th. Last 2 cars in the field, Daniel Eberhardt and Trevor Osbornoth. We're going to go get your top 3 for interviews, and we'll get to hear from all of them. Stick with us here on PGR eSports. We're going to go get Dylan Jones, Devin Ray, and Matthew Baker. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We're going to start your post-race interviews now. We'll begin with the man who finished in the third spot tonight for KSR, the bucked-up Chevrolet, the number 2 machine of Devin Ray. Sorry to cut you off, Devin, but it's Dawson in the booth. You got a copy. Well, an incredible finish for a moment. Looks like you and Jared Haynes had the skies open up for you and maybe drive through on the bottom. In the end, a third-place finish for you, but a great run nonetheless. Take me through a chaotic sequence there at the end of that race. Yeah, a really fun finish. Kind of take me through, I'm going to ask Dylan this as well. Kind of take me through the mentality there. You have the playoff guys around you. You know what they're racing for. You see them all step out and kind of come around you guys to the outside. What's the mentality there? Are you racing those guys differently because they have a yellow banner on their car, or is it just another competitor for you? Well, certainly a good run for those guys tonight. Good run for you, though, in the third position. So before we let you go, enjoy it and go celebrate. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out? Man, what a fun race it was to watch. Congratulations on the third place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate, and we will talk to you soon. Devin Ray in the 2, tonight's third place finisher. Will bring it to the man who came up a few inches short tonight in the second position, and it is the 11 of Dylan Jones. Dylan, it's Dawson in the booth. You got a copy. Man, I know these kinds of finishes are gut-wrenching. I've had a couple myself here over the past several weeks, but nonetheless, a really great run for you, a solid run. You're up front a lot, came back from some adversity about the stage break, and managed to run up front for most of tonight's race. It's a second-place finish. Take me through this last sequence. Anything you could have done differently there off turn number 4? Well, yeah, absolutely. And what a finish it was to watch. Obviously, come up a little bit short on your end, but nonetheless, you're running around those playoff guys. You see them step out. Is your reaction different? Is your thought process a little bit different with them having yellow banners on the cars, or is it just all the same mentality there? Well, that's kind of what I'd hoped you said. Sure, what it looked like out there on the racetrack, and it results in a second-place finish for you tonight. So before I let you go and enjoy the winnings and celebrate a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out? Well, it was very fun to watch, a very enjoyable finish, and one we'll have to go back and watch for weeks to come after tonight. Congratulations on the second-place run tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate, and we will talk to you soon. Dylan Jones in the second position tonight. And I'll tell you what, it's getting to be habit to talk to this guy in victory lane, but, man, he just continues to have one of the greatest seasons we have ever seen here in Tuesday Night Thunder, and it continues tonight with a 6th victory on the year. It's Matthew Baker in the 5. Baker, it's Dawson in the booth. You get a copy. I'll try that one more time. Hey, Baker, it's Dawson in the booth. Oh, yeah, I got you now. You got me up here in the booth? Oh. We'll give him a second. Some technical difficulties for our race winner tonight. So we'll give him just a second here to manage those issues. We are going to get to hear from your race winner again. Gotta love the technical difficulties, right? Especially the ones you don't know about until they're happening. So we'll give him a moment, let him kind of cue us back in. But before we get to talk to him, like I was saying, man, it's a habit at this point, right, to talk to Matthew Baker after these races. And to be the first one locked in, it's fitting. And continues an incredible season for him that could result in a championship. It probably should. I'd argue it probably should result in a championship at this point. And he's looking to lock that up here in a couple weeks. Hopefully we're able to grab him in here. We are kind of waiting on him to I'm waiting on him to try to cue me. I don't want to drag him back in here. I don't want to drag him back in here if he's still having problems. So we will wait for the cue. There's the cue. So we'll try this again as we get to our winner tonight in victory lane. Let's give this another shot. Matthew Baker, it's Dawson in the booth. You get a copy. Well, no worries. Again, we know how technical difficulties can be. Man, I just said it. It's becoming a habit. This is nothing short of pure dominance for you. And it's another victory, and you're the first driver locked in to the Final Four. I'll start with that. How does it feel to be the first driver locked into our championship race? Give me just a second. Yep, give me just a second. We'll get that sorted. Now we're having our own technical difficulties. Gotta love it, man. It's incredible. Let's try this again. We'll start from the top. We should have it fixed this time. So, again, you kind of take us back through it. How does it feel to be in the round of 4?
Yeah, so like I was saying, just it feels great. 6 wins on the season. It's not many times you could say that. In RMR, and I just put it up on the high side and live by the sword, die by the sword. I like to make those moves, and made it with my teammates, and none better than having Michael Triscaro there in the new Prime 34. Glad we got that sponsor probably on board for us for the PGR SummerSlam. So it feels great, and just the reactions from the people watching around are awesome. So awesome.
And so much fun for me to watch as well. And, well, all right, so kind of take me through the game plan now. I think I know what you're going to say, but nonetheless, take everybody through how you're going to game plan for next week, knowing you don't really have the week off, but you can start to look forward to that championship race. What's the mentality? What's the mindset?
Well, it's going to be the same thing as I did last week. Is try and get Merck, try and get Mike locked up in that championship 4, get 2 of 4 of us in there to give us a 50-50 shot at the title. And try and bring it home one position better than last season. I work really hard at this, and Mike does too. He's a merchant when it comes to Daytona, and it proves in his finishes with the win last week, and in the 4th place finish there tonight, almost a 3rd place finish, but couldn't have done it without him. So just going to try and repay the favor for the boys, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for the championship race. Unfortunate netcode hooks that we had there towards the middle of the race. A couple good saves by our boys, and everyone's able to repair the damage up. So just really, really happy with the performance that we had tonight.
Well, again, a lot of fun to watch, and it looks to me, NBG, a team that will not be denied so far this season, and two drivers left trying to get locked in when we get to next week. But tonight, it's all you again. It's your 6th victory of the season. Again, I know it feels really good for you. So before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just first and foremost, thanks to Coasting Thunder, MBG Motorsports, Baker and Son Construction. Thanks to Martin Sports on the deck lid. You for putting on the broadcast. Teammates Triscaro and Merck. Man, I got to send you this reaction. So I sent I sent the link to the YouTube chat to the boys who had the day off tomorrow out at work, and they sent me a video reacting to the 3-wide move in the finish, and it is probably one of the funniest videos I've ever watched. So we got the VP8 colors on. We got the blue and orange. We got the Tiger, the VP8 Tiger there next to my name. So representing VP8 well and representing the boys out there, having a couple of brewskis and watching me go around in virtual circles. And thanks always to, family watching back at home. And my wife, who's probably asleep right now, will go wake her up and we'll have some drinks for it.
Well, we'll let you get down to it. We'll let you get to celebrating. And congratulations on your 6th victory of the season. We'll see you next week, and then we'll see you for the championship race after that.
Hell yeah. Thanks, brother.
Matthew Baker in the 5. Our final interview from tonight's race. Apologies for the technical difficulties. It's kind of weird. Everything looks perfectly fine on my side. So I'm hoping you were able to hear him there, but I mean, I don't. Everything looked completely fine on my end, so apologies for that. But nonetheless, Matthew Baker, his 6th win of the season tonight, and the playoff scenarios going into next week are going to be all over the place. So you had, Garrett Main's got a pretty good finish tonight, and that stage win's going to help him a lot, so he should still be in. Michael Triscaro, great run for him. He finished 4th tonight, so he'll look to be in coming next week. Jeff Merck as well, a great run for him in 7th. Logan York in 8th. He was above the cut line coming into tonight. He'll be above it probably next week. Brock Westmoreland and Andrew Navarro and Jason Maines going to have some work to do for those 3 cars. Programming notes for you before we head on out tonight and kind of get out of here. Thursday night, the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series is back for another week, and I will be back in the broadcast booth. I know it's been a couple weeks, kind of getting acclimated to a new job. So I've been kind of taking a couple weeks off, trying to get acclimated to that, but I'll be back for this week's race in the broadcast booth. Myself and Austin and Matthew Baker will all be up there as the PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series returns here to Daytona in these Xfinity cars for 60 laps of action. A big-time payday for the winner, $300 guaranteed to the race winner as of tonight. It should be a fun one. PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series race presented by Prime Hydration Drink, and that's all I'm going to spill for now. Come out on Thursday, a big night ahead for PGR eSports. And then from there, racing the rest of the week. I believe we'll have some on Friday, probably with some McCullough Motorsports action throughout the Friday night, throughout the weekend. Then Monday night, do not miss it. Be in this YouTube channel on Monday night, because the Little Guys Series Championship race is upon us, and it is Monday night where 20 of the best little guys, including yours truly, will be on the racetrack racing for the big money payout and the right to be called a big dog on Monday night. That's going to be a lot of fun. Michael Triscaro will have you for the call. I believe Matthew Baker should be back with him on Monday night here on PGR eSports, and I will be on the track racing for the Little Guys Championship, trying to put myself in the list of Little Guys champions alongside Josh McCullough, Michael Triscaro, and Mike Davenport, and there's one other that I am just forgetting off the top of my head. But looking to put myself in that group of drivers as a Little Guys champion. The other one was Justin Mills. My apologies. But trying to put myself in as the 5th champion. But that's going to be a fun one. A lot of great drivers in that field. Don't miss that race. We'll be back next week for Tuesday Night Thunder, the second race in the round of 8 as we set our Championship 4 here on PGR eSports. You've been watching live Tuesday Night Thunder, race number 1 of the round of 8. My name is Dawson Wise. I've been bringing you all the action. Thank you so much for watching and spending your Tuesday night with me. And until next time, we'll see you on Thursday for PGR's Intimidator Super Speedway Series presented by Prime Hydration Drink. Until then, everybody have a great night.